Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to your Go Home edition. And by Go Home edition, I mean go home to the weekend edition. Go home to the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. Go home to Forbidden Door, and go home to the man they call Meathead. Good morning, Meathead.
Yeah, go home to Appleton Wiss. So it is definitely a go home. Hey, a little fun fact about Appleton. Do you know that not only is not Doc Ock, I always get that wrong, the Green Goblin. Do you know the Green Goblin from Appleton, Wisconsin?
Oh, no, that's a nice little...
Willem Dafoe.
Interesting. But I got to tell you, he is only he's going to have to be my second favorite person from Appleton, or maybe third favorite person after you, but you got to throw Harry Houdini some love.
Well, I've been known to hide stuff in places, but Harry Houdini was way better at it than I was.
Now, here's the thing. Next time I'm in Wisconsin, we talked about it last time for Blizzard Brawl. Didn't quite work out. I got to get to that Harry Houdini museum, and I assume they've got a gift shop, and I assume they've got apparel that I could purchase from the Harry Houdini Museum. But if I'm in the need of apparel before my next visit to Washington or to Appleton, Wisconsin, where would I buy said apparel at, Meathead?
Well, definitely at collarandelbowbrand.com. Now, here's the thing. We talked off air before we got on, and I was like, man, I want to get some more collar and elbow stuff. The promo code Linda K will save you the 10% if they're not having any deals. I do know that other one is saving everybody 20% if they're getting the Falls Count Anywhere and Loser Leaves Town match.
Yeah, so if you're buying both of them, promo code QUICK20 gets you a quick 20% off of both of them. But maybe you're kind of partial to the one and don't want to quite get both of them. You just enter promo code HOOT, H-O-O-T. Because I feel like I need to spell that out because there's several different variations of hoot. So
if I'm saving 10%, I'm saving 10% with Linda K.
Oh, that is the other option there too. So I mean, we got all your collar and elbows, got all of your bases covered for your new summer apparel because it is officially summer, and you gotta be decked out in your collar and elbow gear. Now, Meathead, I want to discuss. I know you and Linda talked about it earlier in the week. The number one contenders match we had on Raw for the women's title. Rhea Ripley was slated to go up against Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank. Not happening. We didn't get many details on Monday, but over the course of the week, we have had some information leak out. And by leak out, I mean direct from the source, Rhea Ripley saying on her Instagram that she is out of Money in the Bank due to a brain injury. Now, there has been some speculation, through various outlets that, perhaps this is a concussion from a match a few weeks ago, but not much more is known. Rhea using the term brain injury. Meathead, I want to get your take on this whole situation and see if you know any more than I do.
No, not on this topic at least, or on other topics. But, obviously we're wishing the best for Rhea. Concussions, and again, something that we've talked about over the years, concussions are taken way more seriously now. Really since the Chris Benoit stuff.
Yeah.
Because we know what the concussions did to Chris Benoit, where he had, that brain damage that he was having for years and years and years. So they're not going to take any chances with it. I don't know that this is something that they would not take chances with in AEW. This is nothing against AEW. I just think that WWE do protect their talent a lot more than they had in the past. Now, we talked about that match a couple weeks ago where she got her teeth knocked out. We saw her, in a promo with the Judgment Day with the braces on her teeth. I'm wondering, I mentioned a spot to you when we were getting ready here. There was a really, really just nasty turnbuckle bump that she took. I want to say it was in a lower turnbuckle, not the middle one, like the bottom one. I'm wondering if she worked through that bump and then got her teeth kicked out or what happened there. But Rhea, we don't need you to wrestle Money in the Bank. Take your time. Again, you're going to hear from myself personally. Matthew, I think you concur on almost everything anyway. But you're going to hear from myself. I don't need talents, wrestlers, to risk their health for me. I need them to be healthy, happy, and safe. So if this means that Rhea's out for another week, comes back after the pay-per-view, cool. I'll see you then.
And here's the thing, and you can't speak for every professional wrestling fan, but I think your traditional wrestling fan that migrates towards professional wrestling versus other forms of combat sports, part of the reason that it is enjoyed so much, is because it is simulated fighting. We not necessarily don't want to watch somebody getting hurt or actually getting their bell rung. Make it look like that's happening. That's part of the enjoyment, but and the thing of it is, man, like I just, MMA for the most part, boxing to a lesser degree, just not my thing. I've always acclimated towards this form of entertainment. And I think that, you can't speak for everybody, but I think there's a bit of that, with your professional wrestling fans. So wishing Rhea a speedy recovery, and hopefully she's back as soon as she can safely be, and not too soon. Now,
safely, right?
We're gonna keep with that same theme right there, Meathead, and talk about somebody else who's recently gone out with an injury. Cody Rhodes making a statement earlier this week that the timetable WWE is putting out there is 9 months, but specifically stating that is their timetable and not necessarily what he's planning on. Now, we've seen people come back from injuries a lot quicker than normal, or a lot quicker than projected. Cena in 2008 at the Rumble, I think that's one of the quicker ones that come to mind. But when we start doing the math and we start looking at the timetable for Cody's injury, there are some dates that are popping up around the first quarter of 2023. Meathead, your take on Team Nelson Mandela member Cody Rhodes?
Well, I mean, how long is he going to be there? We got a big pay-per-view, Forbidden Door, this Sunday. Do you lose Cody Rhodes and you pick him up in January? I mean, who's to say? That's a slot that's not going to be earning any points.
Here's the thing. Cody Rhodes was the number one pick for Team Nelson Mandela. And for me to drop, my my guy, when there's a lot of hungry piranhas out there, if I drop Cody into the pool, it's no telling what's gonna happen there. So I don't know. My move is yet to be determined there.
All right, well, let's talk about Cody. And it's ironic that we came off of the "we don't need you to hurt yourself" conversation with Rhea Ripley, and now we go into Cody Rhodes. How long have we been saying that about Cody? Cody, I understand that WWE set a 9-month time frame for you, and that's okay if that's what their doctors think. I think you're going to beat that. I think that a lot of professional wrestlers are going to beat that time frame. I don't need you back by Survivor Series. Be ready for the Rumble. That's all we need. Be ready for the Rumble. And if you're not ready for the Rumble, keep working towards WrestleMania. You've got a nice wide berth there for him to get ready. We don't expect him at SummerSlam. Don't expect him in England at the Castle Cardiff show. We don't expect him at Survivor Series. Be ready for the Rumble. That is plenty of time. And you know what? We're all doing the math. We expect you to be there. So just take your time. Surgery's done. You had Dr. James Andrews, who is like the man when it comes to that stuff. He's the guy that works on people like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, and he works on the NFL players and the college players. This is the man. This is the guy that created so many procedures. He's the Doctor Strange of fixing athletes.
Meathead, was he the guy that did your operation last year?
No, I had a local doctor who, unfortunately, his name is slipping my mind right now. I think it was the anesthesia that he put me under that made me not forget his name. But I will tell you, my doctor is phenomenal, and him and I have a very good rapport. He said, Ron, you're probably one of the smartest patients I had. You want to do the surgery crack at dawn in the morning. Do you know why? Because you get to eat right after I'm done. Damn right, Doc. I'll be eating in seconds.
You know what? It's nice to know that we have got a medical professional in our orbit. Maybe we actually bring him on the air to, get him to talk about Cody's injury, and we do it, maybe once a week, and we're like, hey,
that's funny because that area is his expertise. He's more into sports medicine, so I mean that's his area. I love this man, and if I break anything else or if I tear anything else, I'm going to him first.
Fantastic. So let me throw this out there. All right. He mentioned it until he was taken out again by Rollins, seemingly a way to get more heat on Rollins. But what's the outside chance? We know in these Money in the Bank ladder matches that it just so happens everybody like dies for a little while except for two people in the ring. What if everybody dies except for Seth Rollins and we have a triumphant return of Cody in a sling in Money in the Bank to tip the ladder and then climb up in a sling? You can pull a belt down with one arm, Meathead.
I will tell you that the next day on the review show of Money in the Bank, you will hear the man they call Meathead say, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you there? It wasn't that serious."
That will
literally be my words verbatim.
And that's why, and that's why you just got your answer to no. Team Nelson Mandela is not dropping Cody Rhodes, at least not until Money in the Bank, because there is still an outside chance that Cody, in sling and all, makes his way and climbs that ladder. Not saying it's probable, but I'm sure a stranger thing has happened somewhere. Now, Meathead, you're an interesting source as we talk about this weekend and the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, because we normally would do a little Rampage preview action, but I don't know that necessarily if that's appropriate or not, since you might be privy to some special information. Although
let's talk about Forbidden Door.
Yeah. I mean, you've gotten the full go home experience, man. You've gotten the Dynamite. You've gotten the Rampage, and you've probably been told go home. You probably were told go home there at some point.
I really was told to go home. All right, it's time for you to go home now.
But I know this has kind of been a little bit of a. This is different. I mean, this is a build up to pay-per-view with an organization and some talent that we don't have a ton of familiarity with. But what I want to hear is, somebody that might be a little bit skeptical about this format. What are you looking forward to going into this weekend?
Getting to know more about these talents. And again, this is nothing against the New Japan Pro Wrestling talents. As I looked at all the guys that they have, granted, most are going to be Japanese wrestlers because it's New Japan, right? It'd be like saying AEW has a bunch of American wrestlers. Of course they do. Do you know who I really have my eyes on? Jeff Cobb. That guy right there looks like a WWE type of guy.
Interesting.
He's not Samoan. He's Hawaiian. And I'm telling you, that's the kind of guy that I've really got my eyes on. It's Jeff Cobb. Tonight you're going to see him in the main event against Cash Wheeler.
So, going back and, the commentary last night, I know you said you've had a chance to go back and watch a little bit of the commentary. The story they seem to be telling with Moxley and Tanahashi is, basically having an interim.
Oh, they're back in the ring again.
Didn't you see them at a Chick-fil-A earlier today?
Yes, they were in the drive-thru just staring at each other.
Man, building that anticipation for that order getting ready. The story they're telling or trying to tell right now is the potential of having the AEW champion, at least interim AEW champion, as somebody from a different company, somebody who's pulling the old, taking the belt out of the company type of deal. And
didn't we do that story already in 2020?
We did, didn't we? That was kind of the prefix to all of this, right? That was the original.
Was right. That was the opening of the door.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And now that we've gotten a couple of years on that, like I was, what was it? I ran across something the other day talking about Omega. No, it was in reference to Christian and Christian's recent resurgence about taking the Impact title off of Omega. I hate
that was on the day 2 episode of Rampage.
Yeah. And I hate to say this, and I don't know if you're going to feel the same way or not, but as big of a deal as that seemed at first, does it not seem kind of forgettable right now?
Forgettable about what? What are you talking about?
Just the whole cross promotion.
That was a joke. I made a forgettable joke.
Oh, that's right, because you forget and then you forgot what I asked you. I got you.
Dad jokes 101.
So are you done with that, or are you intrigued by potentially, say you really like what you see with Tanahashi come Sunday?
Tanahashi, he's an amazing wrestler. Okay. Jim Ross and, Shivani and the Man in the Mask. Good evening, Mr. Man in the Mask, Mr. Shivani, Mr. Ross. But you know what? They've done a great job, but they can only do commentary. This guy can't cut his own promos because I can't understand him. That's my problem with this. I want to invest in the talent. I'm not going to invest in a talent that just does a bunch of cool moves. That don't mean shit to me.
Yeah.
I watch people do cool moves all the time.
And here's the thing. We talked about the stare down and we made several references to it. However, that's about all you can do, because they're not going to go back and forth and exchange dialogue. And of course they wanted to, not have them touch until the actual pay-per-view. So, that's, you make a very, very good point. If you do that, where does that go? And my concern with this thing all along has been, where does AEW, if you've got a brand, you've got a product, you're trying to successfully, push the product, where does AEW come away as, an entity in and of itself with this? Are you bettering yourself? And I think if you go too crazy with that, man, I think you're going to potentially, you're taking a risk. I don't see it happening. But there's some interest that's not necessarily New Japan talent. You've got the women's title match, Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. I'm interested in seeing Ospreay in action. I think, as we kind of talked about yesterday, him and Cassidy, is going to be an interesting contrast of styles. And here's probably the one that I am most intrigued with is Zack Sabre Jr. versus a guy by the name of TBA. Have you heard anything about this TBA fellow?
Well, TBA is a band I used to go watch at Summerfest here in Milwaukee.
Oh, fantastic.
TBA was always playing. Yeah, they always played every stage until somebody else would take over every time.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard good things about their early stuff.
Well, it's because our TBAs are always playing early. They're the openers.
So, since we spoke yesterday, any more thoughts on potential replacements for Bryan Danielson that you'd like to see?
Well, let me put this out there and put this in the ears of everybody listening here, and yours as well. I got to watch back Dynamite now with commentary instead of just seeing it from the arena, and they had mentioned in commentary who's going to be the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Kenny Omega's not going to be in the Blackpool Combat Club, so I'm taking Kenny Omega's name off the table. Now, Let's think free agents, right? Who's out there? Is it Bray Wyatt? Probably not. Is it, who else has been released from WWE or one of the top indie stars? How about a guy that was released from WWE that was always in the swing of things?
Yeah. That's who I want. It did not dawn on me when we spoke yesterday. I'm scratching my head. Who is an available talent?
Well, you got to change shampoo. Dude, that's called dandruff.
Yeah, or lice potentially. It's
peanut butter.
What? It's so is my understanding correct? Dandruff is just baby lice. Is that correct? Or lice is like baby dandruff? Which one? Which one's the parent and which one's the offspring?
I don't know. I think dandruff is dry skin flaking off and lice is bugs, and you're supposed to wear a peanut butter on your head to suffocate them.
Yeah, I like peanut butter, so
Hey, enjoy your breakfast, everybody.
No, Cesaro or a variation thereof is who I would really, really like to see. Now, might be a little bit disappointed since you put that name in my ear, man. If it doesn't materialize, but yeah.
Well, I don't think he can be Cesaro. Does he go back to Claudio Castagnoli?
Yeah, that seems to
who has a very long Ring of Honor lineage.
Yeah, and that seems to be AEW's pattern, right? You're not going to give them your WWE name. Of course, you can't, contractually do that. But yeah, go back to the original, what they were prior to that. And I mean, I think AEW, excuse me, like we've seen it with Bryan Danielson. We've seen it with some other talents that I'm sure are escaping me. But you're recognizing the lineage, and it's not a very corporate feeling. It's not a very corporate feeling name. Now, let me ask you this: since they've dropped it, does WWE still own LA Knight? Do they bring in Cesaro as LA Knight?
I'm pretty sure they own the copyright on all of that, and they're not bringing in Cesaro as LA Knight. Stop it.
So I want to put this out there too. Looking at the rundown for this weekend, there was some discussion about what was actually going to be announced. It looks like we do, in fact, have a 4-way match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Jay White.
You know what that acronym stands for, right?
It stands for International Wombat Guild Program.
That's what I used to do in college. Is I'd always tell everybody I wanted, IWGP. I want to get
pizza.
Yeah, it wasn't pizza.
Yeah.
But it made me just as happy because I really love some pizza.
I want to get pizza. Well, apparently it's going to be Jay White, Adam Cole, Adam Page. We got some Adams in there, and Okada in a 4-way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. You know what? We discussed maybe a tag match after we saw the interaction the other night, but I think a 4-way dance for that title is a way to go.
So I got to make this clear. I believe the IWGP Heavyweight Championship is their company's #1 belt, right?
My understanding.
Okay. So then the U.S. Heavyweight Championship, the one that Will Ospreay has, that is like their Intercontinental Championship, possibly? Or do they have an Intercontinental Championship?
That's a good. All right, so yeah, no, I think you're right. That would be so. It's listed IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. So I take it more of an IC or more of a more of a U.S. title.
Okay, not an All Atlantic title because we don't even know where that one falls in yet.
Yeah, that's we will see.
That's also going to happen for Forbidden Door as well.
Yeah, we've got right now we're looking at Pac versus Miro versus Malachi Black versus that TBD again, man. They're getting a lot of action. I've heard.
No, that's been that TBD. No. TBD's been announced already. I just don't have his name in front of me. It's a New Japan wrestler.
TBD actually done some work in the past with Vacant. You hear about Vacant a lot on various promotions. Absolutely. Well, before we close up shop for the weekend, the man they call Meathead, you got anything, any other source of enlightenment that you would like to bedazzle the listeners with?
Vince McMahon will be on SmackDown tonight, and he's going to say, "Welcome to SmackDown," and his music will play, and they'll leave. I think Vince is just going to go on TV, pulling it out, swinging it around, and leaving. Vince is going to do whatever the hell he wants.
Can they get away with that on Fox?
Probably. I used to watch Fox back in the early days, and they got away with a lot of stuff. To be honest, you know what Vince is like? Vince coming out and do that. And have you ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
It's where Jordan Belfort basically told the SEC to go, wherever, and he spit on their deal. So he's just going to do whatever he wants.
I remember the part where he did all those drugs and they all hit him at once.
Yeah, I think that was every part of the movie, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the theme. Fantastic.
Wolfie! That's my safe word, Wolfie!
Well, now that we know the safe word of the man they call Meathead, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Make sure to join us next week for coverage of Forbidden Door, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and who knows what other shows we're going to work in there. Dynamite, Rampage,
Impact, if there's any news, New Japan Pro Wrestling, if there's any news.
Saturday morning. What was the Saturday morning wrestling cartoon?
Yeah, GLCW, if there's any GLCW news popping. OVW, our girl Kate.
Linda Kay is on the road, and I believe there's some OVW shenanigans going on this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. So we got all the dudes that fit the cover.
All kinds of professional wrestling insight, analysis, and just a darn good time. For the man they call Meathead, this is Matthew Thomas. We'll talk to you soon.